Okay, but before we continue, here in this battle, it's describing the battle, and the battle is so ferocious. Shit, where's it at? No, no. Okay, yeah, no, it's so ferocious that the birds are trying to escape, but, their wings trailed on the ground. The storm flooded out the fish there in the subterranean waters. Their mouths snapped at the air. So, I mean, think about that line, right? And think about the character of the writer. I mean, this is, kind of Family Guy type comedy. I mean, this is terrible. These poor fish, all because of Ninurta's tantrum that he's throwing. Um, and this is also why Enlil and Kar-Ur are trying to calm him down, because these are Enlil's fish that are dying. Um, but I also want to comment. I mean, this is good word craftsmanship, right? I mean, all of this stuff is just really these are really attractive words. Um, there's at one point I think it says dread fear or something like that. Dread terror. I don't know. Dread awe. It's just these are really good and attractive words, and this is by a scribe, right? This is by a man who prides himself on his scribal abilities, his craftsmanship. Um, and like interestingly, if we want to compare this to Moses, Moses tells God that he is not good with words, right? Now this is not true though, because I mean he writes all this stuff. Um, and there are parts within his text where he does enter into this more artistic style, right? But Moses has his own style, and he's more of a scientist in his style. But he does have very beautiful ideas, uh, and there is a beauty to the science of his text. So these are just two different texts, and they're both praiseworthy. But this is more of a Hollywood style text, right? This is spectacle. There's a lot of we can think of this character as a P.T. Barnum type character. This writer as like a P.T. Barnum type character, maybe. Um, let's see here. Where are we? Okay, so he needs to kill. They're telling him to stop. At one point in time, the father's panicking. Enlil groaned and hid himself in a corner. Right, so Enlil is this really this Samford type character. I mean, imagine Sanford and Son, if you know the story. Imagine if Sanford had a son like Ninurta, right? Like Sanford would be really, really proud of a son like that, rather than a son of self-respect. Um, and I'm fuzzy. I watched it when I was a kid, so I think I'm remembering it correctly. But Enlil groaned and hid himself in a corner. I mean, this is kind of comical behavior, right? And I'm not completely clear about what's going on here. But he's you could definitely can't believe him at face value. Um, then Kar-Ur, right? Ninurta having confidence in himself. Asag is described in the same way, right? Asag has confidence in himself. No, no, no. And there's a lot of broken text here. But let him not diminish the population. Let him not cause a lack of posterity. So I mean, these are jokes, right? I mean, Enlil Enlil's feeling bad about what's happening. There's the character of the golem, right? And people don't understand a golem. It's a funny type character because a golem is an artificial man, and we would call Ninurta an artificial man, right? And so it says, do not create golems because golems get violent. And so, it's like Enlil, Kar-Ur, and Ninurta's mother have this golem. And, this idiot is causing all this destruction. And they're feeling bad. So there's this, Enlil's like this wily little character, but Enlil, also has a conscience. Maybe not. Maybe you could say no. Don't diminish the population. So there's ambiguity here, I guess, because it could just be greed, right? And I don't know enough about the Sumerian civilization to make a judgment, I guess. But I mean, it does seem like Enlil is feeling guilty about what he has done, right? And he's desperately trying to stop it. Joyfully it reported the message to Lord Ninurta, right? This is wily Kar-Ur. He's trying to get him to go fight the Asag, right? So he's pumping up the Asag right here, and that's what he did earlier. Like again, this is Kar-Ur, the fight promoter, right? So he's trying to get he's trying to get Ninurta to just go kill to stop doing what he's doing and go kill the Asag and get it done with. And he's trying to taunt him, oh, you can't get him. His fortress is too high. It can't be reached. So he's I mean, this is Kar-Ur the master, right? He's trying to taunt him. No, 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 no. At one point he says, don't take your soldiers any further. But Ninurta doesn't listen, and he takes his full soldiers further, I think. So this is unfortunate. This is comedy right here. But I think we could see this as kind of like Family Guy type comedy. Because I mean, you could say that this is terrible to laugh at stuff like this. But Family Guy succeeds in getting us to laugh at stuff like this. So I think that's what's going on. Because they're just desperately trying to get him to stop his tantrum and focus on Asag. And so and this is a comedic effort, I think, is what the author is trying to do, and succeeds. And again, there's like all this praise of Ninurta is just funny, right? Because that's how you control him, right? No. You're the hero. No. Okay, I'm trying to find him beating. Did he already beat him? The Lord applied his great wisdom to it. I mean, Ninurta is not a man who thinks. He blocked powerful waters by means of stones. Right? This is epic stuff happening. And again, what's funny with this text is that there's obviously two audiences, right? There is the audience of Ninurta worshippers, right? So they're going to see the surface of the text, and they're going to be wowed by all these flowery words. They themselves are going to be like a Ninurta type audience. And then you have the more hidden stuff happening, right? Boom, 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 boom. Its name shall be stone. Do 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 do. Okay, here it is. He's killing the Asog right here. Now I think this is kind of funny because I mean, what's the Asog, or what do we know about the Asog? All we know about the Asog is from Kar-Ur's words, right? But here, outside of Kar-Ur's words, what do we see when we see the Asog? We see a terrified character, right? So it's like maybe Kar-Ur is lying to us, right? Because this is a terrified figure who the hero really kind of beats easily, right? Um, and boom, he now has control back of these lands. No, 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 no. And then Ninurta's mother is gonna enter in. No, no, no. Oh, but now, like, think about it like this. So they gain control of these lands, and then Ninurta, at some point, I think he's doing it right now, but he's setting about refixing all these lands. So, but think about it. Who's going to get all the benefit? It's going to be Enlil. Enlil's going to get the fruit. But Ninurta's mother's going to come and take it from Enlil. But I mean, think about this like a son who's working his father's lands, and the father's going to be getting all this benefit. He sits back in his palace, and he's terrified or he's confused. um, but Ninurta conquers in his father's name, right? Yeah, so he's cleaning up all this destruction. But I mean, I mean, Ninurta again is being used as a tool right here, right? Is he not? But all of this is being discussed or talked about in grand ways, right? So the labor of the slave is being talked about in epicness, right? I think that's what's happening. He contended the desires of the gods, they duly praised Ninurta's father, right? So, I mean, the gods are benefiting from all this too. So they're like, good job, Enlil, for for conceiving a bull. At that time, he also reached a woman with compassion, Ninma, was sleepless from remembering the place where she had conceived him. Right, so she's distressed. She covered her outside with fleece. The mountains could. So now she's praising Ninurta, right? This is, it's. Let's see, where are we? Here we go all the way to the end, right? It is good to praise you, Um, yeah, no, it is good to praise you. And so that's what Ninma is now doing. She. No, 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 no. Okay, the great hero, the force of whose rage no one can approach, like heaven itself, the savage storm which walks on earth. Right? I mean, do you hear all the sarcasm here? And this is his mother talking, spilling poison in the earth's breast. The Lord, the life breath of Enlil, whose head is worthy of the tiara, who knows nothing of in triumph. In triumph, right? So here we go. In triumph, he hurried by me. He with whom my husband made me pregnant, I bore him for my husband, right? So boom, she just like, I think the word is gaslit. I don't know all this. I know, I don't know all the terms, I guess. But I think she just gaslit him right here, right? In triumph, he hurried by me, right? So she's trying to make him feel guilty. Um, and there she goes again, right? Right, and she's just doing it by doses, right? Doses. But the son of Enlil passed by, right? The son. She's talking about her son, right? But the son of Enlil passed by and did not lift his glance to me. And so by doing this, she is able to get control of all these mountains, right? So I mean, I think this is pretty funny. But there is, of course, more impiety going on here, right? By the author. And yet at the same time, there is this respect for human nature. And so there's this piety as well. So this is a very strange author, we could say, right? Um, and then what follows after this is a description of the different stones. And so this is very interesting, right? Because we have to go back to who the audience is. And the audience is going to be, Ninurta worshippers. But then there's going to be a smaller audience, right? And yet, boom, we get into all this craftsman stuff, which in modern day times is going to turn off the reader, right? So I would assume that this doesn't turn off the Sumerian reader, the Sumerian Ninurta worshiper. And I would say it doesn't turn him off because I would think that maybe this points to a general craftsman knowledge within Sumerian society, and again just general. But when they're talking about all these different stones, the Ku stone, the Gasura, they do alabaster at some point. When talking about all these stones, I think these are stones which the common Sumerian would recognize. And so their interest would be kept, right? So it's all about keeping the interest of the receiver. And because, like again, a lot of this stuff is going to maybe turn off a modern audience, but um, and so I don't know what this would say about the craftsman, the specific laws and practices of craftsmen back in this day. Again, I don't know the political economic ness of Sumeria, so but there's definitely some interesting things going on here. There's some great lines within here. And then that's about it. I guess the last thing I'd say about this is, the author of this and Moses are the same type of writer. So Moses would have read this and he would have been able to understand. Um, but there's a difference in Moses and the subsequent Torah writers in the imagery of stone. And within the imagery of stone, um, you could think of, within Moses, I think the imagery of stone is that of meditation and prayer, which is what makes Moses Moses. So uh, the imagery of stone within the Torah is going to be uh, the imagery of a rabbi, I think, or of a good rabbi. Uh, Stones are not that exciting, but the mind is very exciting. The mind and the soul. But here, stones are a sog, first of all. But there are some stones which are given praise. And so we wouldn't talk about stone or rock in Sumerian texts, I guess. There would be different types of stone that would be talked about. And this just points to, I guess, a more general craftsman knowledge within this society. But yeah, no, I think that's it. This has been fun. I think this text is a very comedic, and yeah, no, I'm glad that I was able to read it.